Today on Piggy Power, I'm going to show you how to remove and replace the strut here, or upright, or damper, or coil spring on a Peugeot 807. It's also the Citroen Synergy, the Fiat Ulysee, I think, and what other versions? The Peugeot Expert, the Citroen Dispatch. They all share the same platform, same suspension setup. Some of the components are thicker, like the springs and the lower ball joints, but the way they're put together is the same. First, I'll show you the tools you need, other than some hands. Gloves are handy. So hands. The tool needs some tools. Tools required. We've got some generic freeing oil wire brush, some vice grips or mole grips, 16mm, 17mm, 18mm sockets, 18mm spanner, extension, cheat gun to drive them, lever bar of some sort, flat blade screwdriver would be handy, little punch is often handy too, and a hammer of some sort. That's all you'll need. Oh, cup of tea. So you can see I've already removed the wheel and have the vehicle supported under the subframe on a jack stand. If those steps are tricky for you, I would recommend not going any further. It's quite a basic operation, but if you can't safely jack up your vehicle and take a wheel off, maybe you need to take a step back, let a mechanic do this, a qualified one, and come back to this sort of job another time. However, hopefully you are ready for this next step. So I'm going to get a wire brush, or you could get a wire wheel, and we're going to get it just a little bit further in here, and we're just going to clean some of the bolts off, or I should say the nuts, the threads, the covered in muck, and particularly the one here, which is an anti-roll bar link, because these have a tendency to spin. So we're going to get a bit of that in there, give it a bit of a spray. Don't spray it on your wheel discs, or your brake discs, sorry, obviously. Give another clean off, give another spray. And while we're waiting for that to happen, we're going to unclip the wires that we have here. Which I did just have a screwdriver for. So, I don't know if you can see, we have a brake line here, brake hose. There's a little clip here. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer, actually. It's probably going to be helpful to you, isn't it? Let's get you in a little bit closer. Right, there we go. So we've got a brake hose here. You can just normal wiggle them out of the way, like that. You don't want it pulling too hard on the hose. So get behind there on that rubber bush and just leave it out of the way. There we go, like that. And then on this side, same sort of thing. Just some sort of lever to wiggle them out of the clasps. Sometimes I'll take it off this top one there, which is up here, just so I can get the wire out of the way. This is an ABS line, so you don't want to damage that, otherwise you'll be in the job of replacing the ABS line. No one wants to do that. Then up here, what do we have? Well, we've got our anti-roll bar link, which, well, let's give it a go. Impacts are very useful here. I tend to like to put grips on the back of them. There's usually some sort of metal back to them. You don't want to grip through the rubber and damage the rubber, but there's normally a back to them that's sometimes got a slot for a spanner. They seem to do that less now. You can put something in the middle. They tend to round out. So we're just going to rotate the steering very slightly so this is pointing more towards me. So that angle is significantly improved. They're usually a 17mm, so here I have a 17mm deep socket, or a 1/2 inch for you Americans out there that aren't watching. And then a little pair of grips. I tend to like the little ones because they're a bit thinner, and you can get in between the boot and the back of this bracket. There we go. That'll just prevent it from spinning. Impact gun, or cheat gun as I like to call it. Watch your ears. And there she goes. Right, now you can pop the nut on it, give it a bash, don't bash it without it, but what I tend to do is get a lever at the bottom and pull down on the anti-roll bar link. You could also jack up underneath the lower arm to release the tension. You can see there's a lot of tension on that right now. going to get down there underneath the anti-roll bar, pull down on it. You see that moving? That's me pushing down on the bottom of the anti-roll bar, and that takes the tension off, and we can just wiggle it out, just like that. And there we go. So hopefully you can see I caught the back of the flange there rather than on the boot. See that flange? And then I can stop it spinning. Otherwise you can turn that and it's just spinning all day long and you start ruining the joint. So move that joint out of the way. Now you either put this nut in a special place. I often like to put nuts back on the threads if they're exposed in an area that I could smack them with a hammer. It's probably not likely in this case, but at least it's out of the way. I'm not going to lose it in the gravel. Okay, stepping back a bit, we have these two large bolts in the middle. You see those? Going through left to right. Very nice. These are 18mm. Get a spanner on the back, and we're going to buzz the nuts off. I'll do the lower one first. Cheat gun enabled. So we'll get that nut all the way off. There is a washer, seems a bit stuck on there. Oh no, there she is. Look at that, just get that washer off. Nice, put that in a little tray. Let's do the same for the top, and then we'll worry about getting them out. Nice, same thing, get that washer off. Turn with the spanner, make sure they're not seized. Then they're not, and we can give it a little tap. Now I am using a copper hammer, but don't panic. The ends of these have a little I like them called knock points. So there's the thread, and then there's an extra butt on the end of it, so you can smack it with something convenient. So that could be a punch of some sort, just to get rid of the one bolt. You do have to be careful on the other side, that you don't smash yourself into the brake hose, which is behind, so a little bit of pressure on the top of the brake, or the brake caliper, or the disc helps you wiggle it out. That goes in the pot. Now the top one is going to be similar. You're going to put a little bit of pressure on, you see that? We're now moving around, a little bit of pressure, and then it pops straight out. And then we're actually free now. There we go. So you can see now, the bottom of our upright strut is free. Woohoo! We're free to do whatever we like. Right, let's take it off then. Now, a little word of caution here. Try and move the hub away to the right or the left if you're on the driver's side, because when this drops you don't want to damage the boot under here, the CV boot, otherwise you're in a world of pain of trying to replace that CV boot. Okay, now here's a tricky bit to show you. At the top here are two 16mm on a nice extension bolts. Right, let's get some light up there. Try and show you by hand. We could have the shaky footage moment now. So there's one bolt, and the opposite corner is the other bolt. You see that? So it's quite hard to show you while I do it, because my hands will essentially be in the way. But there we go, there's the top. Got my extension, got my cheat gun again. Just bear in mind the strut will want to drop once these come out. Right, there's one. So we're going to loosen it first before we take it out all the way. Get our left hand on the strap, remove the bolt, and then drop the strut to the left side, or the front of the car. Let's get this back so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So I dropped it to the left side, or the right side on the drivers, down into that gap here, so I didn't damage the boot and didn't go that way and get stuck, and then moved it out. And there you have it, your strut. So if you're replacing the whole unit for some reason, well, you can just bolt the one back up. If you're replacing the spring, then you'll need to remove the spring. Now you can remove spring compressors. If you've not used them before, I'd recommend go into a garage. They'll replace the spring for you, probably for 20 or 30 quid, or maybe some beers and a tenner, because they've got a proper machine that will do it safely. It is a very dangerous moment when you're compressing a spring and taking the top off. This is a 22, by the way, and you'll need a 7mm Allen key on the top to do that with. So yeah, 22 at the top, 7mm Allen key to hold the damper from spinning. If you're replacing the damper, you're keeping the spring in the hat, etc., same process. You've got to compress the spring before you can take that nut off. Do not, whatever you do, just undo that nut. This will go off like a grenade. Once you have replaced the spring, which I'm about to do, if you go and see my 207 spring and damper removal, I show compressing this and some precautions you can take when doing it DIY, so go and see that video. Otherwise, put these bits back together as you would expect to put them back together, in the same order that you removed them. Okay, I'll try and find some torque specs for these bolts at the top and these 2 bolts at the bottom, put it all back together in exactly the fashion I've just showed you in reverse. Thanks for watching. I hope that's been helpful. It's a super easy job actually compared to some vehicles to do this. So if you need to do this on your van or your minibus, then have fun and give yourself a cup of tea.